know Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, how much of a disaster you were back then, and how much of a disaster you still are today. So it is me, Shadow Leon 659 once again, and today I would like to take a look at what is easily the worst Jurassic Park film, at least in my opinion, that being Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. I already mentioned in my review of, should I say, Jurassic World, that I wasn't the biggest fan of it. I thought the movie rehashed quite a lot from the first movie. And of course, should I say, the characters made a lot of idiotic mistakes and a few other things. But at least there was some merit I gave the movie. But unfortunately, I cannot say the same about this movie. Because when I watched the trailers of this movie, I was hyped, I was excited and whatnot. The movie was going for a darker tone. I thought it was gonna explore darker themes and maybe be an R-rated movie, maybe be more horror-driven and whatnot. The possibilities are endless, but unfortunately, it ended up being a huge letdown. And all the trailers were a damn lie, and they didn't live up to its full potential. Now let us talk about the plot for this film. The plot is essentially, you've seen Jurassic Park 2: The Lost World, you've already seen this movie, except they took away everything that made Jurassic Park 2 decent. The entire plot, I mean seriously, this movie just gets a lot of things wrong. For starters, the characters in this movie range from idiotic to one-dimensional and downright irritating. Our two main protagonists are just as bland and dull as ever before. The villains are essentially just cartoon bad guys and whatnot. I mean, our main douche in a suit is pretty much just a ripoff of Peter Ludlow from Jurassic Park 2, and of course, should I say, Ted Levin's character is just a blatant ripoff of Roland Temple from Jurassic Park 2, but without what made the character so compelling and likable and everything. They just feel like villains out of a Saturday morning cartoon, for God's sake. I mean, the whole using dinos in war is just so fucking stupid, I want to tear all the hair off of my head. Newsflash, it doesn't work because we have all that modern military technology and everything. And let us also talk about the other two characters, and my god, these two have got to be the worst sidekicks ever. Zaya Rodriguez was a useless side character who essentially did nothing in the movie, and of course, should I say, Franklin Webb is only there just to be an irritating comic relief character and scream at the top of his lungs like a little girl. If you hated Taylor Leone's character from Jurassic Park 3, Amanda Kirby, you will hate Franklin Webb even more, that you are just praying to God that the dinosaurs just maul him to death and whatnot. And speaking of the dinos, they don't really explore that much with the dinos and whatnot. Like, take Rexy for example. In the trailers, you'd think that she would do something and whatnot. Maybe have one last final fight with the Spinosaurus, and maybe to all those people who are disappointed about the T-Rex getting abruptly killed off in Jurassic Park 3, maybe you could have at least maybe Rexy dies this emotional and heartfelt death, but no, she's barely in the damn movie. And you know those shitty direct-to-video Steven Seagal movies, and where, should I say, Steven Seagal was barely in the movie and whatnot? Rexy is only there just to, should I say, be just for trailer shots and whatnot. They don't do much with her and everything. And also let us talk about the tone and inconsistency in this movie, and oh my god, I fucking hated the comedy in this film. For a movie that's supposedly the darker and edgier installment compared to the first movie, they don't really do much with the film's darker and edgier tone. In fact, there are times in where this movie feels like a pseudo-parody movie, and not a good one at that. It's impossible to take the movie seriously on one hand, and on another hand, it's impossible to find it funny because the comedy is just borderline unfunny, nonsensical, and very out of place. There was a scene in where one of the bad guys was plucking out the teeth of the Indoraptor, more on him later, and the raptor tricks him as if he's a freaking Looney Tunes character. My god, the comedy in this film feels like, should I say, something out of a bad episode of Looney Tunes, Scooby-Doo, or even Tom and Jerry. It also has mind-bogglingly stupid moments such as Owen, who is a normal everyday man, literally survives being burnt by volcanic ash and lava. This is just insulting to intelligence and to people and at least give Stan from Volcano credit. When he fell into the lava, he burned to death and whatnot. Pratt is clearly near lava, and he's not burning to death and whatnot. And also, don't even get me started on the clone girl Macy, because Macy is just a shark jumping moment and whatnot. And if you wanted to, should I say, include human-dinosaur hybrids, that was, should I say, the thing you should have done for the Indoraptor. But no, you decided not to do it because we wanted this to be a kids film and let's market it to the kiddies and whatnot. But unfortunately, let's get to the biggest elephant in the room, and that is the Indoraptor himself. You are telling me that this stupid arse dinosaur can only listen when you point a laser at somebody and then it automatically attacks that person? Seriously, this is the ultimate apex predator? I mean, seriously, why not have it do things like, I don't know, having it maybe be psychic and whatnot, maybe calling in other one of its raptor friends to should I say, attack people and whatnot. Maybe, I don't know, have it have super speed, maybe it can jump in the air and do drop kicks or something, I don't know. Why couldn't you have done any of that for the Indoraptor to make it such a terrifying opponent? Come on. Even Trinity from Dino Stalker at least was the better Indoraptor than this useless and stupid arse dino. And let us all talk about how the events of this movie could have been prevented. Why didn't you just ship the dinos to Isla Sorna? I mean, Big Jack Films said it best in his video, and this clip from Big Jack Films' video says it all right here.
Oh, the biggest issue I've realized is that Isla Sorna is not even brought up as an option for transporting the dinosaurs to a better location. I mean, wouldn't somebody in that court hearing with Dr. Malcolm at least bring that up as an option? I mean, the island is twice as big, if not larger, than Nublar. Why not send the dinosaurs over there rather than another primitive island that Hammond was involved in, which could technically be considered Site C? Hell, you could have brought back the Spinosaurus and given us a rematch that we've always wanted with a full-size adult T-Rex. Why don't you acknowledge that Site B exists?
Hello? Hello? Yes?
What, because The Lost World and Jurassic Park 3 are considered bad movies by the general public? Well, FYI, Universal, the fans like The Lost World. Hell, some love Jurassic Park 3 a little more, even though I'm not one of them. But here's the thing, on the viral marketing websites for the film, they explained that the events in films 2 and 3 were canon and that there were several plot elements and origins explaining about certain dinosaurs, and that apparently Isla Sorna shipped all of its dinosaurs to Nublar in order to not only focus on more experiments in genetics, but also to move the plot forward that if Isla Nublar is destroyed, the dinosaurs go extinct. Honestly, reading those would have made for a much better story. The problem is that most of the viral marketing plots feel like a major afterthought after the writers were questioned with the plot holes in the movie. One critique of the film out of the buttloads of bashing for this movie that had some really interesting points to it was a review by a really talented YouTuber named Muller. And the one thing he pointed out with today's movies that I'm actually agreeing with is why the hell franchises and sequels aren't interested in world building. Which, to be honest, in a lot of films nowadays seems to be the biggest problem. And that's just really depressing that most of the world building in many of these sequels that are made constantly are just thrown in as an afterthought for the viral marketing.
Well said, Big Jack Films, well said. And also, despite him being featured on the trailers prominently, Malcolm in this movie is just a glorified cameo, and they don't do much with him aside from appearing in that 5-minute scene towards the movie's climax and whatnot. Overall, Jurassic World, should I say, Fallen Kingdom, is a disappointing as hell sequel and whatnot. And if you're to ask what are the redeeming qualities of this movie, I can say I did like the gothic atmosphere of this movie, even if they are not used to its fullest potential. J.A. Bayona's direction is pretty good for what it is, because, you know, it was a good director working with a god-awful screenplay. Some of the cast members do give good performances. It was nice to see Ian Malcolm again, even though he is just a glorified cameo in this movie. And I did like the score, even though I can't remember much of it. And also, I'm so glad that they went back to the old school practical effects, and I'm so glad that it looks like a theatrical film this time around instead of, you know, Jurassic World that looked like a cheap made-for-television movie and whatnot. But I'm gonna say this with a straight face. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom is not one of the worst movies I've ever seen, but it is one of the stupidest and most idiotic films out there. And if you're wondering how I'm gonna rate this movie, I'm going to give it a 2 out of 10. So what do you guys think of this movie? Let me know in the comment section down below. And thanks for watching as always. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more. Shadow Leon 659 signing out. Enjoy. And oh my god, I have to do a rant on the crappy as hell Dominion.